Hello and welcome to this beady hammer review of the Adeptus Mechanicus Sicarians. You may notice the word Sicarian is not dissimilar to the word Sicaran, which Forge World used of course for their Sicaran main battle tank. I'm not too sure why Games Workshop decided to go with Sicarians, but we'll move on pretty quickly. This kit is the second run of miniatures out of the Adeptus Mechanicus range, the first of course being the Vanguard Rangers combined kit. And this is the combined kit of the Sicarian Infiltrators and Sicarian Rust Stalkers. Now you can see they use the Sicarian Infiltrators here on the front, and if you flip over, doink, on the back you have the Sicarian Rust Stalkers. So let's have a look at what you get inside. The Adeptus Mechanicus Sicarian kit is basically two sprues. The sprues have some shared parts on them, obviously. The main body, legs, and some of the arms, or part of the arms, is shared between the Infiltrators and the Rust Stalkers, and really you've got optional weapons as well. Now the first thing you're going to find out, which is a little bit disappointing about these, is that these are not ball and socket. Now you'd think having a look at miniatures would potentially be so dynamic, particularly the Rust Stalkers, which pretty much look like ninjas really. They're actually quite similar to the Star Wars droid commandos, which you'll be seeing in Star Wars, the Clone Wars animated series. And you'd think that you'd want a really dynamic pose, but unfortunately, what they've given us is very, very defined poses. In fact, so defined, you really need to follow the instructions. It seems that Games Workshop really aren't taking ball and socket particularly seriously. You'll quite often see that Jess Goodwin miniatures do have ball and socket, so we're looking at Dark Eldar and stuff like that, but unfortunately it looks like the rest of the design team are not taking it as seriously. So let's have a look. Okay, so this is what you get. Here's your variety of weapons. Now, we'll start with the Infiltrators. Now, the Infiltrators come with two different types of handgun here. We've got a gun that looks not dissimilar to kind of like an MP7, with the magazine coming out the bottom of the handle. And also another gun here, and we're mentioning this before, but very Star Wars inspired style gun with a magazine, you can see here, that goes onto the side. The claws and hands on these are really fantastic. Have a look at these. These are kind of your close combat style hands, mainly used for your Rust Stalker Alpha. Lots of other details here. You've got the servo skull, which I'm sure will be very popular in bits places all around the world. The Alpha, of course, does come with the same kind of coat that you'd find on your Vanguard or Ranger kit from last week. Backpacks are really nice, kind of like a cut-down version of the ones from last week, the Vanguard ones. If you look here, you'll see some cool little gauges on them. Nice little icon there from the Adeptus Mechanicus. Not only do we not get ball and socket for the legs, we also don't get ball and socket for the arms. Again, limiting the posability, which I really can't get over how disappointing that is, to be honest with you. Look, now this is the thing, like, I ummed and ahed about getting this kit, and this week it was kind of, do I get these guys? Should I give them a go? They look really flexible. Why not? Picked up that, picked up the Codex. You might have seen the Codex review from the other day. Codex is fantastic, by the way. But these guys, although finely detailed, I don't know. I think if you're going to have an army of them, you're going to very quickly find that you're going to have multiple poses. And restricting that seems a bit silly in a world where they want us to army build. Now let's have a look here at the Infiltrator heads. Here they are here. They look like the top of a Dalek. I'm not too sure about these. They remind me of other bits of sci-fi. And I know this design originally came out of a Jess Goodwin sketchbook, but I don't know. I'm just not sure about it. Anyway, for me, I will be using the Rust Stalkers heads, and they're just great. Really fantastic. As I said, obviously influenced by steampunk, and also influenced by, I would say, the Star Wars droid commandos. Here is a couple of other shots of the chests. Now, the chests are all a little bit different, and if you're a fan of Hellboy the movie, you'll remember a character in there who is like a mechanoid kind of guy. He's not dissimilar as well, so maybe they got some influence there as well. The Rust Stalkers also have the long blades here, and the short blades. The Infiltrators can either be armed with a taser goad or a power sword, and the other hand either gets a stub carbine, which is the one that I was saying before looks not dissimilar to a Star Wars blaster, and the flechette blaster, which is the other option, this one that looks not dissimilar to an MP7. Something else you'll notice here is the larger size base. Last week's release of the Ranger Vanguard kit had a standard 25mm base, really odd when you think they're moving to 32, but nonetheless. Now these guys, the Infiltrators and the Rust Stalkers, come with a larger base again. Okay, well, let's have a couple more shots here of some close-up bits and pieces. So, the long and the short of it, I was honestly expecting more. I was definitely hoping these would be ball and socket to give the maximum amount of range, of movement. But nonetheless, looks like we're stuck with some fairly traditional designs here from Games Workshop, heavily influenced by other pieces of pop culture. The moulding is lovely, looks very, very nice, very crisp, but again, could have really done with having the flexibility that we'd all really want from ball and socket. One day, Games Workshop. One day.